Good evening and welcome to Deakin Stadium. It's NPL elimination final time. It's Canberra FC, the hosts, against Campbeltown City from South Australia. My name's Russ Gibbs. I'm your commentator for this evening. Joining me in a very blustery commentary position here at Deakin Stadium in the nation's capital is Steve Forshaw. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Russ.
Looking forward to a good game today. We've had some excellent NPL action down here in Canberra all season. The champion team, Canberra FC, up against a real quality opposition today in Campbeltown.
Yeah, I mean, a really interesting fixture because the South Australian NPL has the benefit, of course, of Adelaide United that sort of helps to strengthen the local competition, whereas in Canberra we're still in the bidding process for an A-League side and we lack that sort of depth and quality. But it's a game today where we can actually have a look and see where Canberra football actually stands in the pecking order of NPL football, up against a really good Campbeltown City side, winners of the NPL in South Australia, and of course our most dominant team this year in Canberra FC. So looking forward to it.
Both sides won their respective grand finals last week. Campbeltown beat Adelaide City 1-0 in their final. Goal from Yuhei Matsumoto a couple of minutes after the break, after Adelaide City had missed a penalty. And Canberra FC here beating Canberra Olympic after being 1-0 down. Two late goals from their leading goal scorer Thomas James, in sealing a treble for them locally.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful season. The two McCaw brothers who've taken over the stewardship of FC this season have really set a very high standard for themselves and for the rest of our local competition. But we look at Campbeltown City and I think they won the double as well. Winning 1-0, as you suggest, last week. They lose their leading goal scorer through a major injury, and on behalf of everybody in Canberra, we'd like to wish him a speedy recovery.
Sorry, Steve, we're just going to run through the Canberra FC lineup, but just for a moment, looking at the graphic on our screen there. 5 changes from their grand final team. Jordan Thurtell starts in goal. Ross Costanzo, Daniel Subasic, Matt Gerbish and Ivan Pavlak across the back four. Jordan Lamb, Ian Graham, Matt Waters and Christian Pradesina in midfield. Thomas James and Kofi Danning up front. So they leave out Sam Brown, Aidan Brunskill, Ryan Keir and Michael Mensah.
Yeah, I mean, probably not surprising changes given that they went through the grand final last week, and it does give some of the younger players that have been in the squad an opportunity, but it's still a very strong FC team, and in Thomas James they do have a proven goal scorer.
Campbeltown City, they make 2 changes from their team that won the grand final last week. Nicholas Harpers continues in goal. A back four of Sean Harvey, Ian Fife, Matthew Mullen and Jake Halliday. Midfield 3 of Andrew Mayo, Alexander Mullen and Adam Piscineri. Up front, Yohei Matsumoto, Luigi De Troia and Anthony Torre. So no Dion Kirk, of course, who broke his leg unfortunately in the grand final, and Mark Marino on the bench.
Yeah, interesting that 2 of their leading goal scorers are not available today. Obviously, as we mentioned, Kirk out through injury, but Marino has almost a dozen goals himself, so it's a little surprising that he starts on the bench. But they're a strong side. They've got goals in them from other areas of the pitch anyway. And if they turn up and play, Canberra FC can expect quite a game.
Mark Marino, of course, no stranger to Canberra, having played at the FFA Centre of Excellence up the road here in Bruce. Our match officials today, Katie Patterson in the middle, Georgia Girardello and Nathan Shakespeare on the line. 4th official is Lauren Hargrave. Canberra FC in their red shirts, white shorts and blue socks as usual. Campbeltown in their change strip. And if you're a Campbeltown City fan and you want an omen, the last 2 times that Canberra FC have played in the NPL final series, the team that beat them went on to win the competition. In 2013 it was Sydney United, beat Canberra FC 2-1 up in Sydney and went on to beat South Hobart in the final. And in 2015 Canberra FC were beaten by Blacktown City, who went on to beat Bayswater. So possibly an omen there for Campbeltown City.
Yeah, well, if they need any assistance, I'm sure they'll look in that direction. But they've got plenty of quality in the side. You know, Ian Fife, who skippers the team, well known as a former A-League player, played with Sydney FC, was on loan recently as 2016 with Newcastle Jets, and had a stint at the world famous Hamilton Academicals as well.
Up there in Scotland. Getting ready to get us underway will be Campbeltown City in their change strip to do so. Luigi De Troia, their leading goal scorer on the field today with 11. Bagged himself a hat-trick earlier in the year against South Adelaide in the NPL down there. Someone that Canberra FC will have to look out for, no doubt.
Well, and vice versa. Thomas James is one of those players that Adelaide are going to have to, Campbeltown are going to have to keep their eyes on as well. He's had a great year, scored a lot of goals, and does have the pace to worry most defences.
Early ball for Pictionary over the top. The flag is up against Anthony Torre. First decision of the afternoon for Giorgio Girardello, local match official. Wind is fairly howling across the field here today, isn't it? Doesn't seem to show it too much on the screen, but it's blowing from behind us, isn't it?
It's very strong. The breeze is very strong, and left to right as we look at it primarily. So both teams are going to have to come to grips with that quite quickly.
Pradesina gets the free kick. Just nudged off the ball there. Referee Cody Patterson giving Canberra FC an opportunity from a set piece. Thomas James, their leading goal scorer, 26 for the season for the main man, including 2 in the grand final last week.
And of course, he scored against Broadmeadow, didn't he? Not very early in the game in the FFA Cup round of 32.
The set piece specialist for Canberra FC. See what James could do. Swings in a decent looking one. It's ricocheting around the area. Danning tried to get on the end of it. He'll keep it alive. Being shadowed by Mullen. Gerbisher swings it into the area. There's Graham. Pradesina challenging. Good clearing header by Harvey. Pressure this from FC early on. And Gerbisher's cross harmlessly over the top.
Encouraging start, though. I mean, with a bit of early pressure. Very early days, of course, but a good start, encouraging start, will give the locals a bit of confidence that they can actually match their South Australian counterparts.
Nicholas Harpers, the Campbeltown City goalkeeper, between the sticks last week, and perhaps he psyched out the Adelaide penalty taker when he struck the crossbar in the first half.
It's amazing what pressure can do for you. And any other game he probably scores, but a grand final, and he misses.
Campbeltown City, of course, been very good in recent years, racking up plenty of trophies. 3 South Australian championships in 2013, 2016 and this year. The first grand final win, though, was last week, and here they are on the run. Detroit tried to get in behind the back, but was easily picked off by Gerbisher. Pavlak will bring it away. Canberra FC like to keep the ball as often as they can, and they do strike fast when they go forward. They've got some pacey players in the team, and no doubt Campbeltown will be aware of that. With the broadcaster of most games these days, Steve, these sides will probably seen a lot of video of each other.
Oh, they'll have done their research for sure. But both teams have said, I think, in their normal shape, with FC starting 4-4-2, or roughly 4-4-2, and 4-3-3, it looks like, for Campbeltown. And they look, to me, like a team that likes to play quickly in transition.
Here's Harvey, the right back. Give options ahead of him. Troy was one of them. You can see what the wind is doing to that ball, holding it up when it comes back. Mayo's ball to Matsumoto. Harvey. Campbeltown happy to start again with Matthew Mullen, and he's knocked that one out of play. Not the best piece of distribution from the central defender.
No, he's nephew of Coach Joe Mullen. Him and his brother both playing, of course, for Adelaide. God, I'll get it right in a minute. Campbeltown City. And cousin to Daniel Mullen at Newcastle Jets. So the Mullen family well represented here.
Yeah, head coach Joe Mullen. Over 330 games for Adelaide City and 75 goals, and a couple of Socceroos caps as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, very good player in the old NSL, Joe Mullen.
Led Green Gully to the 2003-04 VPL Championships. Here's Mullen, Alexander Mullen, and here's a chance for Campbeltown with Torre. Gets to swing that one in, but covered well at the back. And FC happy to concede the throw. Jake Halliday will take. Chance perhaps to deliver something. All he's done is pick out Danning, though. And Ross Costanzo, one of the youngsters drafted in today. And Thomas James, first touch for him. Nice touch from Pictionary in midfield. He's off on the run again, and here's a chance for Torre to cross. He's only got Detroit in the middle. Putting the pressure on Gerbisher, does well, Luigi Detroit. And Campbeltown looking lively.
Yeah, very, very good football team, but I know it's early stages, but just the way they find combinations and play with each other, it's just very attractive brand of football.
Well, they're going to get a corner there. Ian Graham rather sliced it in the end. Jordan Thurtell couldn't keep it in. I understand their plane was delayed. They're a little bit late in arriving in Canberra today, so you may have thought they might be a bit sluggish, but they've started well.
Yeah, they've come out of the blocks okay.
No jet lag from Adelaide, hey, Steve?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Here's Matsumoto, the goal-scoring hero of the grand final last week, to take this set piece and maybe use the win to his advantage. Good sweeping ball in, Fife the obvious target. There's a header and a goal on the far post. And it's Campbeltown City who take the lead. Canberra FC just did not pick up the runner on the far post. And the header is in, and I think it's Mullen who scored.
Just can't pick up the number there. I think you're right. I think it was Mullen, the defender. But just, you know, fairly routine corner into the back post. Too much space, too much time. Relatively simple finish. 1-0 Campbeltown. Not the sort of start that Canberra FC were looking for.
But exactly the start that Campbeltown wanted. They've come to Canberra and they have the advantage early on. And we'll see what Canberra FC are made of. Alexander Mullen's 9th goal of the season. He scored the winner in the semi-final as well, Steve, against Adelaide City. That got them to the grand final the other week. So knows where the net is and criminally left unmarked.
Yeah, too much space, wasn't there? I mean, it wasn't a particularly intricate move. It was just routine stuff. Ball into the far post, like I was saying, and he's been in the right place at the right time to not home. FC will just sort of be ruined the fact that they haven't picked up the runner marked. And you know, space doesn't score goals. People do, but they seem to be just marking space there.
And an avoidable corner as well, which sliced off of Ian Graham's boot. Here's Dunning looking for a response for those in red. Costanzo. Dunning once more. Pavlak. Good pressure. And Subasic needed to be sharp. Got a foot in, and here they come again from Pichineri. Watched a bit of video of Campbeltown, as we said in the week, and they look like a very good football side, and we're seeing that straight away. Dunning for FC. Lamb's ball in field. Waters. Pavlak again. Good ball that, looking for Dunning, and that's a good piece of covering defensively back there by Jake Halliday to concede the corner.
That was better from FC, though. Kept it for a little bit of time, took the sting out of the press of Campbeltown City, and then ended up with a ball that almost found Dunning running into the penalty area, and they've ended up with a corner. So let's see if they can replicate what happened at the other end.
Well, Ivan Pavlak's tasked with the duties, with the left foot to swing it into the crowded penalty area. James at the near post, eluded everybody.
Probably shouldn't have. It probably was a great chance. Dropped into a good space for him.
Costanzo needs to be careful here. Detroit putting him under pressure. And that wasn't too easy for Thurtell to deal with. The flag goes up against Daniel Subasic, coming back from the offside position.
Wow. That's an interesting decision.
I guess when it came off of Thurtell's boot, he may have been offside.
I don't think he was. I know Thomas James was, and I think they might have given it against Thomas James, but he just wasn't interfering with play. Anyway, referee, the linesman's in a good spot.
You're watching live NPL Elimination Finals football. Canberra FC trailing to Campbeltown City. Thomas James looking for Matt Waters into the penalty area, and he tries to play it across, and it's deflected wide for another corner.
Great move again. Great move again. Thomas James and Matt Waters have actually combined well all year, and they did so there to create a little bit of an opening for Matty. Unfortunately, it's deflected wide, but they get another corner, and if they can capitalise, we might just have a bit of a game on our hands.
Well, they've responded well to the setback.
Yeah, they have. Really important that the senior players step up for it as well.
Pavlak once again with the set piece. Looked for Subasic. Good clearing header by Fife. Finds his way back out to Pavlak, though. Can he reload? Just to clip it into there. Good looking ball as well towards Danning, and there's Fife again. Man mounted of a defender to clear. good solid presence back there, isn't he, Ian Fife?
Yeah, and obviously his experience is going to be very, very valuable for Campbeltown if they do find themselves under pressure. So balls into the penalty area need to be into areas where he can't attack it, and if they can play to feet, they might get some joy.
It's been an incredible turnaround for Campbeltown City this year. They were 9th in 2017 with only 7 wins from 22 games. 25 points off the top spot, and they've turned it around, and here they are again. The flag has gone up very late, denying Matsumoto would have been a simplest of tap-ins. But that's a credible turnaround, isn't it? 25 points off top spot, and then a year later picking up the trophy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they've obviously done something right in terms of recruiting or building from within the club, and are reaping their rewards.
Good time to be a Campbeltown City player or supporter, no doubt. They lead 1-0. The goal from Alex Mullen, separating these two sides. Later on tonight, Lions FC from Queensland play the Edgeworth Eagles from northern New South Wales. And tomorrow, Sydney Olympic play Perth Soccer Club. Here's Matsumoto. All the clubs looking to join Heidelberg United, who won 3-2 last week in Tasmania against the Devonport Strikers. Harvey looking to clip it in, and Detroit stolen a yard there on Matt Gerbischer.
Yeah, it was a good idea, just overhit the pass.
Lamb. James. Pavlak. Looking for the options. Ian Graham, the skipper, who wasn't going to start today, was named on the bench originally. And drafted back into the side. Pavlak again.
Very important player for him all year, Ian Graham, because he does a lot of the unseen work, a lot of the protecting the back four, breaking things up in midfield, starting things off from midfield. Very important player for them.
For those of you new to the Canberra NPL, you may remember Ian Graham from fortunate penalty miss in the FFA Cup. There he is being brought down in midfield to be a free kick.
Yes, he sort of probably won't think that of his fondest memory, would he? That penalty
Probably
miss.
not. It's not the best moment of his career, is it?
No. Because the follow-up was missed and then blocked, I think, wasn't it?
His Kofi Danning's shot came back off Ian Graham's leg as it was possibly going in the bottom corner. That's football for you, though. And here, FC looking to capitalise on this latest set piece. Pavlak's ball in. Looped up into the air, and it's going to fall for James, but the whistle's gone again. It was Matthew Mullen, I think, who got the header. And this wind probably playing havoc with that kind of clearance.
Yeah, it is. I mean, anything in the air is going to be affected by what is a really strong wind. But Danning just a little over-enthusiastic, although he has had a decent start. His movement's been good. He's tried to get on the end of things, and I think he's, you know, with his enthusiasm, it'll be infectious for FC, and if they can find him in the right areas, they can expect him to score.
Canberra City don't struggle for goals. 69 in all competitions for them this year. Generally get a fair few. Here's Waters. Picked up well by Harvey, and it might break in midfield for Mayo. But Ian Graham got the foot in. Andrew Mayo, one of the two changes in the Campbeltown side, and we'd like to echo Steve's thoughts and send our best wishes to Dion Kirk, Campbeltown's top scorer, who broke his leg last week in the grand final. Wish him well for a quick recovery. Never nice to see. His teammates doing him proud at the moment, though, Steve.
That's a great move.
Looking for options inside, but Costanzo was in the way. Pictionary challenges with Danning. And Canberra City can't string 2 or 3 passes together, and his space in midfield for Toure. Halliday on the overlap. They're working it well again here, and Canberra City need to be defensively minded, and Jordan Lamb was, to concede another set piece now. But I hope that the marking's slightly better on this one.
Yes, well, they've already suffered the penalty of some slack marking, but really Campbeltown City with the third man runs and little neat combinations are making life extremely difficult for FC's midfield and back four.
Matsumoto, who provided the opener, will try and deliver yet another pinpoint set piece. Plenty of movement for him in the penalty area. There's Mullen again, unmarked on the far post. Didn't quite get the header right this time, and he's just shrugged off Daniel Subasic there, didn't he, again? And another opportunity for the visitors.
Yeah, half chance. I mean, he was a long way out, and a lot further out this time than he was from the goal that he scored. But once again, as you suggest, free header.
Just too physically strong for the young Canberra FC central defender.
Getting a lot of joy down the Campbeltown left. Los Costanzo's just being caught a little bit out of position. And he hasn't played much football, so you can understand that he might be a little rusty.
Pichineri tackled by Gerbischer. James looking to twist and turn and get away from Matthew Mullen, and off he goes. And that's a good tackle from Harvey to deny him. And here they come in transition again with Alex Mullen. That's a bit short though, and Jordan Lamb should pick that off. You can see what he's trying to do, try to find Halliday in that gap, but they transition very quickly, Steve.
Yeah, they do. They look to get forward and play positively as soon as they win possession. There's no messing about, that's for sure. But Jordan Lamb will be a little disappointed then that he wasn't able to capitalise on that misplaced pass.
That's another misplaced pass, this time from Campbeltown, and James's touch finds Gerbischer, and his pass is heavy as well, and huge amount of space on this near side for Matsumoto if they find him. They've gone down the left flank instead. And here's a chance for Halliday. A good challenge on the edge of the box by Subasic, and in turn Alex Mullen gets in with a thumper. Pichineri, Detroyer. Everyone in white comfortable on the ball.
Movement's fantastic.
Here's Torre. Detroyer. Pichineri tries his luck from range. It's dipping and swerving, and it wasn't far away.
No, and I think it had Thurtell struggling, but it's a great effort, certainly in these conditions. Even from that sort of distance, he caught that really cleanly and had Thurtell scrambling across to his near post. Unfortunately for Campbeltown City, but fortunately for FC, the ball goes wide.
It's a good hit.
Great hit.
From Adam Pichineri. Set his sights. Fired it goalwards. Another warning for Canberra FC if they needed one. And every loose ball is being picked up by those in wide at the moment. Detroit finds Pichineri. A little 1-2 with Mullen. Matsumoto. Oh, lovely feet. And is caught by Pradesina. Lovely quick feet, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we're in for a treat tonight watching this team play. They're a very, very good football side. The danger for FC, other than the fact that they're very good opposition, is that they try and play as if Mensah is on the park and try and hit James in the air, and he's just not going to win things against five. And they need to be a little bit more patient and keep the ball on the floor, try and find feet. And I'm sure if they do that, they can create things.
Pichineri had a shot from distance just a moment ago that had Thurtell scrambling. He's lining this one up as well. It is Adam Pichineri. It's dipping as well, and Thurtell needed to get a firm fist on it to push it over the crossbar. Anywhere but straight at him may have caused issues.
Yeah, it's a good save, good strike. It's a save you'd probably expect the goalkeeper to make, but he got across well and got it away for a corner. But a good effort.
They're ramping up the pressure, the boys from South Australia, looking to add to their goal that Mullen scored very early on. Canberra FC need to see this little period out. Downing on the edge of the box. Just hoiks it forward. Nodded back by Mullen, and it's going to be picked up by Pichineri in midfield. Running the show at the moment, Adam Pichineri. Pavlak intercepts. Canberra FC trying some intricate little passes of their own in and around their penalty area.
I don't mind it. I think that's the idea. Just a little bit patient, drag people in and then go somewhere else.
Here's Thomas James at the other end. We're going to fire it across, and it's come off the boots of Mullen. And the clearance completed by Halliday. And the movement from Campbeltown is excellent. Five stepping out from the back. disgusted with himself with that misplaced pass. Not happy with his teammates either. On the different wavelength there.
I think he was expecting somebody to be standing still to receive that, and then he would keep his run going. But it's all gone a bit pear-shaped.
Here's Lamb. Subisic, that's heavy. And this is danger. It's 3-on-3. Matsumoto motoring down the middle. Mullen was in support, but the pass was a little bit behind him, unfortunately, for Campbeltown, and FC looked to capitalise on the break themselves. But Harvey too strong in the air for Kofi Danning.
Yeah, need to change their approach a bit. A little bit more patient, a little bit more composed. They're not going to get in behind this back four as easily as they found they've been able to do locally. So change of tactic required.
Battle in midfield between Mullen and Graham. Pictionary gets there and skips it away from himself. Brilliant stuff from Adam Pictionary, and that was almost an absolute worldie from the midfielder, who is on fire in the opening stages of this NPL elimination final.
He was like a knife through butter then, wasn't he? He just, nice skills, got it over the top of the back four. Deep, neat touch. Clever finish, just off target, and had third tail beaten for all ends.
Canberra FC hanging on in there at the moment. All the chances coming to Campbeltown. Here's Graham. Gerbischer forced to go backwards. They press at such the right time, and Lamb tries to force that on its way through, but Halliday is in the way. There's Matthew Mullen. Well, that's short. Chance here, perhaps, for FC. Pradesina to James. Looks to get his shot away on the turn, and first effort on target for Canberra FC, lacking the power to trouble Harpers.
But better. More controlled possession. You know, in the end, it comes on the back of a misplaced pass, but at least it was a constructive move, and then they've ended up with a shot on target. Not the best shot he's ever hit, but at least it's an effort.
Most successful team in Canberra FC, 23 league titles. Only lost one of their last 7 matches, and that was to Canberra Olympic in the qualification final down here a couple of weeks back. So they're in good form. But as we say, they rested some of their, I guess, their more experienced names today.
Yeah, but the, you know, if you talk to the coaching staff here, they'll tell you that they're a better second half team than they are at first. We even saw that last week where they were 1-0 down and finished strongly to win 2-1. So if they can hang in, perhaps with the assistance of the wind and their strong second half performances, they might be able to still get something out of this game.
Campbeltown City's away form has been not as good as their home form this year. They've won 6 of their 11 away matches in the league down in South Australia. 3 losses and a couple of draws, as opposed to their home form where they were unbeaten in 11 matches on the way to winning the title. But they don't look like they're struggling today at the moment, do they? Ball into the area. Here's a chance for Toure, and he perhaps should have done better.
He should have certainly made third tail work. Great move again, though, but it's down that left-hand side. We're not seeing much attack down this right-hand side at all, but down the left-hand side, they're getting too much space, too much joy. Costanzo just struggling a little bit, and I'm sure that they're going to have to do something tactically to actually stop Costanzo being sort of exposed the way he is, and he really should have done better from the chance that was created.
The movement of Luigi De Troia is causing issues as well, isn't it? Peeling out to the flank and taking players with him and creating that space, which Toure here fired over the crossbar, but here they come again. Pictionary looking to force it through Ian Graham's legs. Canberra FC needs someone to get hold of the ball. That's not helping from Kofi Danning.
No.
Halliday.
I think they just need somebody to help. Jordan Lamb's just struggling in front of Costanzo as well, so that right-hand side is just a little bit undermanned.
Mayo's ball forwards, picked off by Gerbischer. Now a bit of space for young Christian Pradesina to run into. He's got Danning inside. He's picked out Thomas James, unmarked, and James fires it over the crossbar, and that was a good chance for a player of his quality.
Yeah, just snatched that a little bit, and that's what happens when you're playing against a better class of opposition. I don't know that that pass was actually meant for James, but it finds him in good space on the right-hand side of the box, and a little bit more composure, and he might have worked the keeper. But encouraging signs for FC.
Again, off of a turnover, looks like to be their best route to goal at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. But
if you're a Campbeltown City fan, I think you'll be pretty happy with what you've seen so far. Graham wins the header.
I think you're right, but they're not out of it. FC are not out of it yet. They've had some great chances and haven't been able to tuck them away. And if they continue to miss chances, well, you know what football can do to you.
Subisic. We've seen it plenty of times locally this season, Steve. You don't take your chances, it can come back to bite you.
Absolutely.
Here's Danning. Touch to Waters. Graham. Pradesina. That's Pavlak. Pradesina again. Forced to just dig that one in, and that should be easy for Fife, but he's giving it away to Subisic. And he in turn is giving it away to Halliday. Lamb finds Danning. Graham just bundled off the ball, and the break is on for Campbeltown City. Touré's pass. Looking for Mullen. Reverse ball into Detroit. He might get there ahead of Thurtell. He has. Just a touch too heavy. Keeps it in though. 3 white shirts to pick out in the penalty area. And he's picked out Touré. It bounces around the area, and it was almost a chance. And Pavlak relieved to clear for Canberra FC. But once again, the incisiveness of Campbelltown's attacking football causing Canberra FC many issues.
And it's the pace of their transition and their willingness to play forward quickly and find a man, link up, and then make runs in the back, behind the back four that's causing all sorts of problems. And it's a wonderful way to play football, and it's great to watch.
James finds Lamb. Waters on his favoured left foot from range. Tried his luck.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Again, not the best shot he's ever hit, but a little bit of possession there for FC. They kept it reasonably well and creating an opening.
Has it in his locker though, doesn't he?
He
Matthew
does, yeah.
Waters from that sort of range.
He does.
Nicholas Harper's relatively untested so far. Just under 18 minutes to go in this first half. The header from Alex Mullen separating the two teams. In the NPL final series, great concept.
It is. It's a wonderful idea. I mean, the grassroots, if you like, the second tier of Australian football has, since the formation of the A-League, probably been a little neglected. And this sort of tournament sort of raises its profile, and it's good for the NPL teams and players that they're given this sort of exposure. We see it in the FFA Cup, and we see it in this tournament too.
This tournament not quite caught the imagination as much as the FFA Cup, of course, without the A-League sides in there and the chance of junkings, but this is obviously the chance to stake your claim and an FFA Cup place up for grabs for the winners.
Yeah, that's right. And I think because it's a purely NPL competition, it gives everybody an opportunity to see where they stand by comparing themselves with the teams from other regions.
And you just wouldn't normally see it, will you? We're going to change it for Canberra FC, an early one. Jordan Lamb is finished for the day, and we're going to see Michael Mensah. Now he has completely different skill set to Jordan Lamb, and it'll be a reshuffle. We'll see Thomas James probably drop back into a wider position, and Mensah will prove to be more of a handful in the air for Ian Fife and Matt Mullen at the back, you'd assume.
Well, I think that's a recognition of the fact that they were just struggling a little bit down that right-hand side. An early change in the first half, and perhaps there's an injury to Jordan Lamb, and that may well have contributed to the fact that he hasn't been able to help Costanzo. Let's see whether that makes a difference for them up front, because certainly Mensah gives them a more aerial threat. More of an aerial threat, I should say.
Costanzo finds James. He likes to play from deep, so this might suit him as well. Good pressure from Alex Mullen, forcing them backwards. Thurtell has to be wary. Harvey wins the header. Matsumoto picks up the pieces and finds Pictionary. Halliday, as he's done for most of the game, offering support on the overlap. Here's Mayo. And that pass is a little bit too short as well. Pradesina is pretty lonesome and isolated. And he's lucky to get away with that. Pavlak, he's under pressure as well. Not a moment's peace, but that's nicely played by Ivan Pavlak.
That's a quality he can bring as well. He's a very, very good player, Ivan Pavlak. He's an integral part of everything that they do well. When he doesn't play well, they really struggle.
Subasic. James looked to return the pass, but got it all wrong.
He did, but it's a good idea. It's better football.
So it might not be as noticeable as I mentioned on the broadcast, but this wind is making it difficult for these players as well. It's a good battle between Mullen and Gerbisch. It's going to fall for Pavlak. Chance for Danning to challenge with Fife. Bit of a mismatch there for the second time as well. Bit of aerial tennis. Fife happy to go back via Halliday to Harpers.
Not the best of clearances.
When he found Waters, now here's Mensah, his first touch. Battling away at the back with Mullen, and who won it. Now Torre will chase. And that's easy for Matt Gerbischer, the most experienced Canberra FC defender on the park. Done it all in local football. Played a bit overseas as well, if I recall. Was it the Indian Premier League or something like that?
I think he did have a spell in India, yeah.
Subasic sends it forward again.
Little agricultural. You're just not going to get any joy from Danning up against Fife with that sort of service. I realised it was a clearance and he didn't have the time to actually pick a pass, perhaps, but...
It's not been the first time, though, Steve, is it?
No.
Here is Danning. That's where he wants it.
Yeah.
To his feet, looking to take on Halliday, who's been very impressive so far, the fullback, at both ends of the park.
As of most of the Campbeltown City...
You'll get there by the end of the season, end of the match.
It's going to have to be spelled differently.
Detroit, little nibble at Matt Gerbisch's heels. Waters, picked off by Pictionary, and Mayo can go back to his goalkeeper. Under 50 minutes to go in the first half.
Really important that FC don't concede again before half-time.
Halliday, look for Toure.
Next 15 minutes, absolutely crucial.
There's another Pictionary on the bench for Campbeltown City today. Anthony Pictionary, Mark Marino, Joseph Kogoy, Thomas Weert, and the goalkeeper Joseph Ruggiero.
Is Thomas Weert related to...
I believe he is.
Yeah.
Might be his son, I think. Someone will let us know for sure. Here's Mensah, looking to find Danning.
If I remember correctly, I think Carl Weert actually scored the first ever goal in A-League. Don't quote me on that.
Just quoted yourself to everybody that's watching. Here's a chance for Detroit, looking to take on Pavlak. Matsumoto. He's got plenty of time. I don't think he's seen or heard Pradazina was sneaking up on him, and he's won himself a free kick. It was for the initial foul, I think, from Christian Pradazina.
It was. He missed the run. It was a great run made that took people in behind the back four, but he kept going left, and he didn't actually see what was going on.
It opened up for him for a moment, didn't it? And he kind of stopped in his tracks.
It might have been...
It was Mullen. Mullen peeled away, and Toure came this side. Now Detroit is behind this free kick.
Piscatero.
Well, we saw Adam Piccionari's free kick cause problems for Third Sale. Now, can Detroit do something likewise, or will he chip it towards a tall timber on the far post? Jordan Third Sale needs to be wary of both of those things. It is Detroit flinging it in, and it's a good-looking one too, and a hair's breadth away from getting on the end of it. Fife threw himself at it, and Mullen was in there as well.
Great delivery, lots of pace, lots of shape. Fife made that really positive run at the far post, but failed to connect. FC lived to fight another day.
Pavlak looks for Mensah. Good win by Marco Mensah. That's what he's there for. Danning tries to step away, gets Pradazina on the overlap. Ball into the central area. Graham, Mensah. You can just see already he's a different physical beast. And a problem for Fife. Here's James. Thomas James, 2 men sticking to the leading goal scorer. Good delivery into the area. Danning's up there with a header, but lacking the power. But better again from FC, and something for the home supporters to warm themselves to on a chilly evening.
Certainly, you know, you'd have to say that Campbeltown City have looked the better side, but FC have done enough to warrant consideration to get something out of this game.
Well, here they are in again behind Torre, and that was fortunate. It came off Gerbish's heels. Matsumoto was there. They're not out of the woods just yet. Costanzo back doing his defensive duties. Matsumoto. Detroyer. Will he kill one? He tried to. But Ian Graham was aware and managed to block. But they do look dangerous every time they get the ball in the final third.
Yeah.
Mullen brings it from the back. Creating that extra player when they do that as well, and that's causing FC issues in midfield. Campbeltown content with their 1-0 lead at the moment. Mullen finds Matsumoto.
Looks handy, doesn't he, Matsumoto?
Just dropping into those little pockets of space in between the defence and the midfield and dragging players around, creating space just like they've done here. Harvey, Detroyer has beaten to it, and FC get rid of it, but it's going to come straight back. Here's Mayo. Fife. But if they were a bit tired coming off the plane and having a delayed flight, it didn't look like it, and they've certainly found their feet early. Another free kick that should be, and it is. Katie Patterson gives a free kick for the foul on Toure, and another chance for them to test Jordan Thurtell in the Canberra FC goal.
And this is in a really good spot.
Pictionary's behind it again.
Yeah, he's looking to take it quickly, but he's had second thoughts, and they're going to set up for either the similar sort of delivery we saw before or a crack at goal, Thurtell's goal.
But it looks like Detroit's behind it. So it might be a little clip in towards Fife or Mullen, the aerial threats.
Fairly short, 10 metres, is it, as well?
It's not far, is it? What's Detroit got behind this one? Luigi Detroit goes for goal, and Thurtell had to be behind it and solid.
And he was, safely behind it. Well done.
There's so many multiple threats, isn't there, coming forward from those in white. Good win by Pictionary, and here he is again is Mullen. This time Gerbischer takes all ball and finds Thomas James in a bit of space to run at Halliday. Thomas James still going, fires it across, and the deflection almost took it past Harper's on his near post, and it's a corner for FC.
He just looked a little indecisive then. He's usually a lot more positive than that. And, you know, one-on-one with the defender, who did a great job, didn't sort of dive in and held him up and kept him in a good spot. But usually Thomas James, you would expect a little bit more from him. But this is, again, another opportunity from a set piece, especially with Mensah on the park.
Pavlak swings it in towards Subasic, and Fife, as he has done for most of those, is comfortably behind it to clear. Waters. Costanzo, last man back for FC. Lofted ball towards Danning. It's going to fall for Mensah. Thought he was going to line one up, and Graham is denied. Mayo got a foot in. But FC getting a little bit of a spell of possession. Just falling to the wrong player at the moment, isn't it, with those long lofted balls? They're all going to Kofi Danning. And Ian Fife is gobbling them up. That one's up towards Mensah. Wins the header. Danning running onto it. And he's got there, but the flag is up. Off the flick from Mensah. I'm assuming Danning must have been offside.
He must have been, unless Mensah was coming back from an offside position. But that, again, it shows you the difference between somebody who can actually compete with the back four in the air and what they had before, where they had the pace of Danning and James as their front two. Mensah, not as mobile, but certainly more of a threat aerially.
This competition's not been great for Canberra teams. Did mention Canberra FC have lost their 2 matches when they played here. Canberra Olympic were beaten twice as well, 3-2 by Brisbane in 2016 and 4-1 by Edgeworth Eagles here last year, and Cooma Tigers. Well, they were hammered by Bonnyrigg White Eagles after leading 1-0 in 2014. They went down 6-1. It's been a little better for those from South Australia. They did have a national champion in 2014 in the North Eastern Metro Stars. But Adelaide City have been beaten a couple of times in at this stage, and so have West Adelaide. So
I think it's been dominated, hasn't it, by the Sydney teams?
Sydney United have won it twice, Blacktown once, Heidelberg United once, and the Northeastern Metro Stars. So 1 for South Australia there, 1 for Victoria, and 3 for New South Wales. But this side's handy.
Yeah, it'll take a good side to beat them, but certainly FC have shown that they're not miles ahead of where FC are. Well, certainly been the better team in the first half, there's no doubt about that, and they deserve all credit. But they're not, it's not Campbeltown City and Daylight second.
Well, they're not in clear yet, are they? They've had chances. We'll put it against them scoring a second before half-time. We've got 5 minutes for them to do so. Here's Matsumoto.
He's been really impressive.
Happy to keep the ball, Harvey. Nice touch again by Mullen. Matsumoto looks for the return. It's a good ball too, and a lovely touch from Mullen. Swings it towards the far post, coming in. There's a real chance here. Detroit in the air. It's going to fall for Matsumoto, and it's come off the back of Ian Graham. Otherwise, it was flashing its way towards the top corner.
100% credit to Canberra FC, who scrambled extremely well, but they were cut apart really easily by some very, very high-class football. And in the end, the little dink ball to the far post has found the players steaming in, but they've just done enough to keep the ball away.
I think it was Halliday who'd come in from the other flank. Danger still not over for FC. They have to defend this corner. And they have been a threat all afternoon in the air. It's going to fall on the far post, but Mullen fires it back across. Mensah needs to turn, and he does brilliantly well, in fact. Just hoiks it forward, asks James to chase. Halliday sends it back from where it came. Pictionary caught a bit late there by Ian Graham. Easy call for Katie Patterson.
Yes. I mean, there isn't an air of a friendly about this, but I'm sure that if the game was for a trophy, that might have resulted in a yellow card because he was very, very late. I think she's been quite lenient there.
It's the second time he's caught someone today as well. Pictionary looks to fling it in towards Mullen, who's peeled away again. And those runs from central midfield from Alexander Mullen are causing all sorts of problems for Canberra FC's defence.
Yeah.
They haven't picked him up all afternoon.
No, and the midfield aren't tracking the run, so he's getting away. And it's a matter of time before he picks one up and sticks one away.
To go with his earlier headed goal.
Yep.
The build-up is excellent once more, and Torres ball in, Matsumoto on the far post. And FC just hanging on at the moment, and Mensah has absolutely clobbered someone in the face here. It's a yellow card coming in, and probably a deserved one as well. We'll have a check on the replay. Not sure who he caught there.
Yeah,
was that a bit lenient, Steve? Should that have been a different shade of colour? Was trying to check on the replay here. He's won the ball, and then, well, has he led with the elbow?
It certainly looked at it at first glance that he might have, but benefit of the doubt, we'll give it that he didn't mean to actually connect with his elbow when he was going for the ball, but he does have that side to him.
It was Andrew Mayo that he clobbered.
Yeah, he caught him late. So, look, Katie Patterson's right over it, so full credit to the referee. She's taken control and made sure that the game doesn't get out of hand.
Mensah's pleading his innocence. I'm not sure he's got any case there. It's definitely a card of some description. Anyway, back with the football. Good ball in again, and aerially, Canberra FC are struggling. That was Detroit, who was disappointed he didn't get it on target. He was free around about the penalty spot.
The delivery from set pieces has been first class, hasn't it?
It's not just one player, is it? It's Pictionary, it's Detroit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Mullen.
Yamamoto.
Yeah, they've all
Matsumoto.
They've all been really good delivery ball into the penalty area.
And they've scored from a set piece already and created all sorts of havoc with others.
Into the final minute of the first half. Campbeltown deservedly 1-0 up. Here's Waters. Matsumoto wins the challenge and steps away from Graham, who
again is caught late. So he's just got to be a bit careful here, Graham. He's getting away with things here, but his lack of mobility is a vulnerability from FC's point of view.
Well, you get the feeling that he's not going to get away with the next one, is he?
Well, that's 2 or 3 in a row, isn't it?
So Campbeltown looking to see out the half, or maybe add to their goal. They won't do it like that.
We're having 1 extra minute, so.
And we're into that minute.
And FC can go into the sheds a little bit more comfortable than they may have been, given the chances that Campbeltown City have created.
Thurtell to launch perhaps one last FC attack in this first half. Mensah can't win it. James can. Halliday. Detroyer. It's nicely done. Looks to lift it over the top, and Halliday's continued his forward run. Bursting forwards. Yeah. Looked for Matsumoto, but the ball was just running away from him.
Yeah, his first touch just took it away from him a little bit, and with the assistance of the wind, he was never catching it.
Can't be too much longer left in the half. Thurtell with another goal kick. It's another deep one. Mensah's the obvious target again, and he does win it. But Fife is there, and Katie Patterson draws the half to a close, and Campbeltown City will be very happy with what they've seen in the first half. They lead, Steve, the goal from Alex Mullen early on, and you can't say they haven't deserved it.
No, they've been the best team in the first half. The football certainly going forward has been terrific. The combinations have been excellent. Certainly down their left-hand side, they've caused all sorts of problems for Ross Costanzo, before him, Jordan Lamb. They've created chances and could be out of sight, but FC, to their credit, have scrambled, got people in the way of things, and have left themselves at least an outside opportunity of getting back into this game. So we can look forward to the second half with some relish.
So it's advantage Campbeltown City in the elimination final at half-time. The headed goal from Alexander Mullen early in the piece has them 1 to the good at half-time at Deakin Stadium. It's Canberra FC 0, Campbeltown City 1. And the goal on the far post, and it's Campbeltown City who take the lead. Canberra FC just did not pick up. Trailing to Campbeltown City. Thomas James looking for Matt Waters into the penalty area, and he tries to play it across, and it's deflected wide for another corner.
Great move again. Great move again. Thomas James
finds his way back out to Pavlak, though. Can he reload? Just to clip it into there. Good looking ball as well towards Danning, and there's Fife again. Man mounted of a defender to clear. Plenty of movement for him in the penalty area. There's Mullen again, unmarked on the far post. Didn't quite get the header right this time. He needs Toure. Detroyer. Pictionary tries his luck from range. He's dipping and swerving, and it wasn't far away.
No, and I think it had required.
Battle in midfield between Mullen and Graham. Pictionary gets there and skips it away from himself. Brilliant stuff from Adam Pictionary, and that was almost an absolute worldie from the midfielder, who is on fire. It is in the way. There's Matthew Mullen. Well, that's short. Chance here, perhaps, for FC. Pradesina to James. Looks to get his shot away on the turn, and first effort on target for Canberra FC, lacking the power to trouble Harpers. But they don't look like they're struggling today at the moment, do they? Ball into the area. Here's a chance for Toure, and he perhaps should have done better.
He should have certainly made Thurtell work. Great move.
Picked off by Gerbisher. Now a bit of space for young Christian Pradesina to run into. He's got Danning inside. He's picked out Thomas James unmarked, and James fires it over the crossbar for Campbeltown City. Toure's pass. Looking for Mullen. Reverse ball into Detroyer. He might get there ahead of Thurtell. He has. Just a touch too heavy. Keeps it in, though. 3 white shirts to pick out in the penalty area. And he's picked out Toure. It bounces around the area, and it was almost a chance. And Waters on his favoured left foot from range. Thurtell needs to be wary of both of those things. It is Detroit flinging it in, and it's a good-looking one too, and a hair's breadth away from getting on the end of it. Fife threw himself at it, and how far is it? What's Detroit got behind this one? Luigi Detroit goes for goal, and Thurtell had to run at Halliday. Thomas James still going, fires it across, and the deflection almost took it past Harpers on his near post, and it's a corner for 2, and a lovely touch from Mullen. Swings it towards the far post, coming in. Is a real chance here. Detroit in the air. It's going to fall for Matsumoto, and it's come off the back of Ian Graham. Otherwise, it was Advantage. Good sweeping ball in, Fife the obvious target. There's a header and a goal on the far post. And it's Campbeltown City who take the lead. Canberra FC just did not pick up. Trailing to Campbeltown City. Thomas James looking for Matt Waters into the penalty area, and he tries to play it across, and it's deflected wide for another corner.
Great move again. Great move again. Thomas James
finds his way back out to Pavlak though. Can he reload? Wants to clip it into there. Good looking ball as well towards Danning, and there's Fife again. Man mounted of a defender to clear. Plenty of movement for him in the penalty area. There's Mullen again, unmarked on the far post. Didn't quite get the header right this time. He's Toure. Detroyer. Pictionary tries his luck from range. It's dipping and swerving, and it wasn't far away.
No, and I think it had required.
Battle in midfield between Mullen and Graham. Pictionary gets there and skips it away from himself. Brilliant stuff from Adam Pictionary, and that was almost an absolute worldie from the midfielder, who is on fire. It is in the way. Is Matthew Mullen. Well, that's short. Chance here perhaps for FC. Pradesina to James. Looks to get his shot away on the turn, and first effort on target for Canberra FC, lacking the power to trouble Harpers. But they don't look like they're struggling today at the moment, do they? Ball into the area. Here's a chance for Toure, and he perhaps should have done better.
He should have certainly made Thurtell work. Great move.
Picked off by Gerbisher. Now a bit of space for young Christian Pradesina to run into. He's got Danning inside. He's picked out Thomas James unmarked, and James fires it over the crossbar for Campbeltown City. Toure's pass. Looking for Mullen. Reverse ball into Detroyer. He might get there ahead of Thurtell. He has. Just a touch too heavy. Keeps it in though. 3 white shirts to pick out in the penalty area. And he's picked out Toure. It bounces around the area, and it was almost a chance. And Waters on his favoured left foot from range. Thurtell needs to be wary of both of those things. It is Detroit flinging it in, and it's a good-looking one too, and a hair's breadth away from getting on the end of it. Fife threw himself at it, and how far is it? What's Detroit got behind this one? Luigi Detroit goes for goal, and Thurtell had to run at Halliday. Thomas James still going, fires it across, and the deflection almost took it past Harpers on his near post, and it's a corner for 2, and a lovely touch from Mullen. Swings it towards the far post, coming in. Is a real chance here. Detroit in the air. It's going to fall for Matsumoto, and it's come off the back of Ian Graham. Otherwise, it was... Advantage. Good sweeping ball in, Fife the obvious target. There's a header and a goal on the far post. And it's Campbeltown City who take the lead. Canberra FC just did not pick up. Trailing to Campbeltown City. Thomas James looking for Matt Waters into the penalty area, and he tries to play it across, and it's deflected wide for another corner.
Great move again. Great move again. Thomas James
finds his way back out to Pavlak though. Can he reload? To clip it into there. Good looking ball as well towards Danning, and there's Fife again. Man mounted of a defender to clear. Plenty of movement for him in the penalty area. There's Mullen again, unmarked on the far post. Didn't quite get the header right this time. He's Toure. Detroyer. Pictionary tries his luck from range. It's dipping and swerving, and it wasn't far away.
No, and I think it had required.
Battle in midfield between Mullen and Graham. Pictionary gets there and skips it away from himself. Brilliant stuff from Adam Pictionary, and that was almost an absolute worldie from the midfielder, who is on fire. It is in the way. There's Matthew Mullen. Well, that's short. Chance here perhaps for FC. Pradesina to James. Looks to get his shot away on the turn, and first effort on target for Canberra FC, lacking the power to trouble Harpers. But they don't look like they're struggling today at the moment, do they? Ball into the area. Here's a chance for Toure, and he perhaps should have done better.
He should have certainly made Thurtell work. Great move.
Picked off by Gerbisher. Now a bit of space for young Christian Pradesina to run into. He's got Danning inside. He's picked out Thomas James unmarked, and James fires it over the crossbar for Campbeltown City. Toure's pass. Looking for Mullen. Reverse ball into Detroit. He might get there ahead of Thurtell. He has. Just a touch too heavy. Keeps it in, though. 3 white shirts to pick out. Advantage. Good sweeping ball in. Fife, the obvious target. There's a header and a goal on the far post. And it's Campbeltown City who take the lead. Canberra FC just did not pick up. Trailing to Campbeltown City. Thomas James looking for Matt Waters into the penalty area, and he tries to play it across, and it's deflected wide for another corner.
Great move again. Great move again. Thomas James
finds his way back out to Pavlak, though. Can he reload? To clip it into there. Good looking ball as well towards Danning, and there's Fife again. Man mounted of a defender to clear. Plenty of movement for him in the penalty area. There's Mullen again, unmarked on the far post. Didn't quite get the header right this time. He needs Torre. Detroit. Piscineri tries his luck from range. He's dipping and swerving, and it wasn't far away.
No, and I think it had required.
Battle in midfield between Mullen and Graham. Piscineri gets there and skips it away from himself. Brilliant stuff from Adam Piscineri, and that was almost an absolute worldie from the midfielder, who is on fire. It is in the way. There's Matthew Mullen. Well, that short chance here, perhaps, for FC. Pradesina to James. Looks to get his shot away on the turn, and first effort on target for Canberra FC, lacking the power to trouble Harpers. But they don't look like they're struggling today at the moment, do they? Ball into the area. Here's a chance for Torre, and he perhaps should have done better.
He should have certainly made Thurtell work. Great move.
Picked off by Gerbischer. Now a bit of space for young Christian Pradesina to run into. He's got Danning inside. He's picked out Thomas James, unmarked, and James fires it over the crossbar for Campbeltown City. Torre's pass. Looking for Mullen. Reverse ball into Detroit. He might get there ahead of Thurtell. He has. Just a touch too heavy. Keeps it in, though. 3 white shirts to pick out in the penalty area. And he's picked out Torre. It bounces around the area, and it was almost a chance. And Waters on his favoured left foot from range. Thurtell needs to be wary of both of those things. It is Detroit flinging it in, and it's a good-looking one too, and a hair's breadth away from getting on the end of it. Fife threw himself at it, and how far is it? What's Detroit got behind this one? Luigi Detroit goes for goal, and Thurtell had to run at Halliday. Thomas James still going, fires it across, and the deflection almost took it past Harpers on his near post, and it's a corner for 2, and a lovely touch from Mullen. Swings it towards the far post. Coming in is a real chance here. Detroit in the air. It's going to fall for Matsumoto, and it's come off the back of Ian Graham. Otherwise, it was... Welcome back to Deakin Stadium, the second half of the NPL elimination final between Canberra FC from the nation's capital and Campbeltown City from South Australia. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me, as he did in the first half, Steve Forshaw. Steve, Campbeltown lead 1-0, and they're thoroughly deserved to be ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, when we were talking as they went to half-time, we acknowledged the fact that they'd been the better team, they'd created the better chances, but they haven't been able to put Canberra FC away yet, so they're still in the game, the home team. But they've been very impressive. Matsumoto certainly looks to be a high-class player. Some of the runs from deep midfield runs haven't been tracked, and I'm sure FC will want to fix that. They've made a change already in the first half, bringing Mensah on for Lamb, hoping to get something out of little pieces. And if they can, then there's still a bit of a chance to pick something up.
Two teams are as follows. Canberra FC, Thurtell in goal, Costanzo, Subasic, Gerbischer, Pavlak across the back. Graham, Waters, Pratazina and James are playing in midfield. Danning now and Mensah up front, who came on for Jordan Lamb. Campbeltown, Harpers in goal. Harvey, Fife, Matthew Mullen and Halliday, their back four. Midfield three of Mayo, Alexander Mullen and Piccioneri. Matsumoto, Detroit and Ture up front. And they've been very, very impressive throughout. FC need to start sharply, and they tried to just then. But here's Piccioneri, who was one of the standout players in the first half. He ran the show from midfield.
Very influential, and I'm sure that Paula McCaw will be saying to his charges that they've got to be.
Well, here's Danning looking to dance his way through. Opportunity here for Waters, and he fires it into the area, but it's behind Mensah. Ture picks it up. He's giving it away to Costanzo. Ball in towards Mensah again, flicks it goalwards. Danning was there. Might fall to Waters. He tried to hook it, Danning low to James on the far side. Thomas James looks for the free kick, doesn't get it. Looked like he was brought down there, the winger. Gerbischer wins the duel with Mullen. They've started on the front foot here, the home team. Danning. Side. Subasic has Costanzo outside him, instead lifts it towards the far post and flicks it off the head of Harvey. And good start to the second half.
Really encouraging start from FC. I mean, this wind is very, very strong, and it does help them a little bit. But they've come out of the blocks really quickly, and you know, the run and the cutback, we just didn't see enough people get in the box for them.
Almost did then. Helped on its way towards Matsumoto. Challenge between Mullen and Pratazina, and it's Mullen who comes out on top. And now here's Ture, and away he goes. And was he caught late there? He was. And there will be a card for Matt Gerbischer.
Yeah, that was a little cynical. I mean, they were away and breaking, and it really came down to some sloppy midfield play from Ian Graham. And Gerbischer took one for the team then, I think.
It's not been too switched on today, Ian Graham. I'm wondering if he knew that he wasn't going to play and then was mentally perhaps not prepared.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way in the first half, because he's just been off the pace a little bit. But he's still there, and he's still sort of battling away.
Well, he'll add his nous to the defensive walls back here as they look to keep out Campbeltown. Detroit with the free kick. Swings it in towards Fife. That's a good clearing header by Waters. Detroit's there, though. It's going to fall for Halliday. There's this neat build-up that we saw throughout the first half. Mullen. Fife. He was caught late as well. Here's Alex Mullen, the goal scorer. Detroit. And Mayo swings it wide, and a chance for Piccioneri to run at the defence and swing it in, and he'll win a corner. And they're back in the groove.
Yes, one of the really impressive things about Campbeltown City, amongst a number of impressive things, is their ability to play in tight areas, keep the ball moving and the passing accurate, and then spread the game and catch FC whilst they're all sort of dragged one way. Hallmark of a very good side.
And they've loaded the penalty area once more. That's swung in towards Fife, who won the header. Couldn't direct it goalwards, though. Just enough pressure on him to stop that happening. And James is on his own, but he's got away from Harvey. He's battling to get away as well, and he's caught by Mayo. Unnecessary from Andrew Mayo, because I don't think our friend Usain Bolt would have got on the end of that one, would he?
No, I think there was certainly covered there, but I think Thomas James has done very well to attract the free kick there. I think he was playing for it, and he certainly was giving as much as he got. Streetwise, Thomas James there, I think, and seen him at his best.
Mayo copped a yellow card for it, whether it was for the foul or some dissent afterwards. Either way, he's in the referee's notebook, the third player. 2 from FC, of course. Now Matt Waters is on the edge of the area. He's got Mensah in the middle. James is there as well. Pavlak's over the ball.
Not a lot of movement though. It's all a little static.
4 red shirts on the far post. Pavlak swings it in that general direction, and Harpers comes and confidently claims. Good piece of goalkeeping that. No challenging him whatsoever though, nice and easy for the Red Devils shot stopper. Gerbischer. Subisic. Now Danning, a little bit of space for Kofi Danning. He's got away from the attempted challenge of Halliday. Lacking numbers in support though. Here's Waters. James. Pradazina swings it into the penalty area, and Fife probably had more time than he thought. Didn't get the call. Doesn't concede the set piece though, and Campbeltown can clear. Here's Alex Mullen. Lovely play by Mullen to find Matsumoto. Looks for the run ahead of him, and Gerbischer just gets there before Detroit. And it's FC's turn to bring it forward. End-to-end stuff in the second half. Pavlak got that wrong. It's come off of Ward's chest, and that might prove costly as Mullen finds Matsumoto, and his touch lets him down. That's uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah, it's some interesting play there. You know, we saw...
Well, hang on a minute, Steve, as James tried to get on the end of that, and Harvey was alert and wary.
In the last attack that FC had, the ball played from Waters into James, and he's on the edge of the box, and you felt sure that he might pull the trigger, and then he plays it wide to Pretzina, and the chance is gone. And then Matsumoto, who's been absolutely fabulous in the first half, just let the ball run under his foot as Campbeltown City counter-attacked.
Waters swung it in, and Danning challenged Harpers. The keeper, though, clutched it to his chest. There's Toure. Oh, and he's left a little bit short as well from the path from Mayo. Here's Danning. Mensah. Overlapping runner is Pradazina on the edge of the box. Gets a shot away and wide of the post. Better build-up, though, from the home team.
They've actually started really well. It's a good second half performance thus far. And we said in the first half that they're a better second half team than they are the first half, and they've sort of emphasised that over the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Doing it all without their top goal scorer, Campbeltown, today. Dion Coates, 12 goals this season. If FC do get an equaliser, we will have extra time and penalties later on, if it comes to that. And there are a couple of players in this Campbeltown side that can take spot kicks. Ian Fife scored 3 of them this season. Alex Mullen, a penalty taker as well. And Mark Marino, of course, who's got bags of pace, and we might see him in the second half as the games get stretched.
I would think that around about the 60-minute mark, you might see some changes from either team.
Canberra FC's bench includes goalkeeper Sam Brown, Marko Verkic, Aidan Brunskill and Andy Rakic, so not too much forward options for Paul Maykel.
No, but there's a mixture of youth and experience there.
Good win by Gerbischer. Well, apparently not, says Katie Patterson.
No, but he needs to get back into his position now and help him defend.
They've gone quickly without him, but the referee's not going to let that carry on.
I wish they would, though. I wish they'd let you play quickly there, because that would stop some of the descent.
Detroit. Looks in field. Now Toure, Detroit again, and tried to squeeze it out wide. And here's a chance perhaps, and Subisic, belying his youthful years there, very calm at the back.
Good player. Lots of potential.
Mullen just sees off James. He's gone into one of his sulky moods.
Yeah.
Drifts in and out of games like that, but when he's on, isn't he? 26 goals in all competitions proves that.
And I think, you know, we looked at the game last week, and realistically he wasn't in the game until he scored twice, and he just drifted out of it, and that's probably when he's at his most dangerous, because people forget he's there.
Here's Mullen. Finds Piscineri. Got Matsumoto outside him, and Harvey's there too. Here's Detroit twisting in the penalty area and trying to get away from Pavlak. Good piece of defending from the left back. But they've given the ball away again, Mayo.
Yeah. Pratzina's had a below par start. He just needs to just settle down and play like he did in the first half.
Matsumoto charging into the area. Down he goes. Was it outside the box? We can't see from here. I think it may have been. There's a card coming out, I think, for Pavlak as well, is there? Was it just outside the penalty area? We're going to have a chat.
I actually thought it was in.
It looked like it, didn't it? Matsumoto, there's a chat between Patterson and Nathan Shakespeare. Matsumoto's burst of acceleration got him into a dangerous position. What's happening here then? No signal just yet. It's a free kick.
Outside the box.
Right on the edge of the penalty area.
Wow.
Dear oh dear, that was close. Just checking the replay now. Great burst from Matsumoto, and wow, there was millimetres in that, Steve.
Must have been. Must have been.
Torre seemed convinced. He went over there to have a chat. Anthony Ture.
Yeah, but we can't tell from here, and certainly...
well, the angle doesn't help us, does it?
No, but the consultation between the two officials has come up with probably the right decision, but it must have been awfully close.
Still danger. The Red Devils looking to add to their tally.
Especially when we've seen such quality delivery from the first half.
Well, you've probably jinxed it now, Steve.
I've got a habit of doing that.
Let's see what Detroit can do. He swung it towards the far post.
Yep, got him.
You did. Still alive, though, for those in white, and that's a nice little 1-2, and it might fall, but the flag is up. For a moment, it looked like it was going to drop nicely in the penalty area. That's a curse to the commentator you did there, Steve. It happens occasionally.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hand him my headphones.
It's a bright start to the second half from Canberra FC. 12 minutes gone. They trail 1-0, the goal from Alex Mullen after 6 minutes.
But there was a reminder, if they needed one, how dangerous the Adelaide team are on the counter-attack. Pavlak was well and truly beaten there and gets away with one.
Thurtell, Mensah's peeled away and won the header. And there's a ricochet off of Fife. Mullen played it into him and Halliday hooks it clear. Toure was there.
Slight change of formation too for FC. Well, not so much formation, but Danning's actually come into this wider right position and James has gone up front. And I think that's to use his pace off Mensah.
Got a free kick here. Ivan Pavlak will take it. In fact, he's going to leave it for his skipper. Gerbisher goes to Subasic. Thurtell is tasked with sending it probably in the direction of Mensah. In fact, he picks out Danning instead.
Good
nice
ball.
touch as well. Here's Costanzo. Chance for him to deliver it into the penalty area towards Mensah. He's got the touch, almost got the shot away. Good defending by Campbeltown just to ease him out. Costanzo swings it in, cleared by Fife. And Halliday shows his pace and determination and half-decent ball as well. Thurtell's come, made the decision early. Good decision by the young goalkeeper. Good ball too, that. Here's Danning. Fife with him. Looking lively in the second half, Kofi Danning.
I think he's had a good game all around. I thought he was the pick of the FC forward players, certainly in the first half, and he's continued that sort of form in the second half, the start of the second half.
Starting at the back to come forward again. Thurtell looks for James. The flag's up though. Offside against Thomas James. Katie Patterson is going to have a word, is she? Wasn't too petulant, was it? I thought for a moment that punching the ball away was going to cause him issues. It's about 15 metres further forward than where the offence was. So no real chances of note in the second half just yet. Hope you're enjoying the coverage of the NPL elimination final.
But Mensah's made a difference up front, bro. It's caused them a little bit more of a problem than what we saw early in the first half. So Paulo Makor will be delighted that his change has actually had some success.
Sweeping ball from James finds Danning. Two players on Kofi Danning. One of them, Toure, wins it. Off he goes. Skips past Costanzo. Stretches those legs. Detroit outside. Matsumoto takes over in midfield. Toure again. Gets a shot away and it's deflected off of Graham, and for a second Maybe had Thurtell worried. It's a corner.
There's a lot of stuff going on off the ball, and it's, you know, Matsumoto there was the victim of a late challenge after he'd played the pass. And sooner or later, the referee's going to stamp that out. So FC just want to be a little careful with the way they're dealing with the threat that Matsumoto represents.
Tell you what, I'm jealous of the people in the VIP box tonight, Steve.
What's that, Russ?
Because they'll be nice and warm, and we're freezing.
You Welsh are always soft.
It's nice and warm in Wales, mate.
Which part? New South.
2 days a year, they get a bit of sunshine. Corner kick to Campbeltown. What's happened here? Something's occurred again off the ball, I think, and Katie Patterson and Nathan Shakespeare's flagged for something. Out of our shots, I didn't see it. But something's occurred here.
Yeah, something has upset the visitors.
The referee wants a word with Ian Fife, is it?
Ian Fife
and Ian Graham. Yeah. The two Ians.
Well, the two skippers are being called aside, and I think she's just saying, let's settle things down there.
Not sure what happened there.
No, obviously something off the ball, but...
Incensed a couple of the Campbeltown players, didn't it?
It did. Something upset them, and it certainly wasn't the late arrival of the flight.
Might have been the weather. Anyway,
On we go.
little contretemps over, and we can get on with the football. Matsumoto is waiting to take the corner. Less than half an hour to go. It's fairly flown by this second half. The push and shove in there again. The referee's got her eye on it. Matsumoto to swing it towards the far post. The header is in, and it's looping as well, and Thurtell got a hand on it, and it's a super save. And it's gone out for a corner. Stunning stop from Jordan Thurtell.
Not dissimilar to the goal we saw in the first half that has the scoreline of 1-0, where the free header at the back post almost results in a second goal, and it's a terrific stop.
I think it was Matt Mullen maybe who got the header on it. The super stay from Thurtell. For a moment, it looked like it was going to sneak its way past him, didn't it?
It did. It looked like it had him wrong-footed. Oh, here we are. We have a ball now.
So Matsumoto, whose delivery a moment ago was outstanding. Again, he's got Mullen and Fife in the penalty area. Toure's in there too. Been marked by Pradazina. Matsumoto swings it in. Good looking one too, but it's deeper. And Costanzo half clears and then gets a shin on it. Not quite as good as his first delivery. But Thurtell has kept Canberra FC in the game there.
He has indeed. It's a wonderful save because he was wrong-footed and he just got his big right hand on it to push it around the post.
Detroit. Nice switch to Halliday. Matsumoto. Halliday. Matsumoto again. They've worked that well. Looking for Mayo. Tries to get away from Graham, who wins it. Weaks it forward towards Mensah, who's challenging with Fife. He's going to get there, the big man. But Mullen won the ball. On a high foot, I think, against James.
Yeah.
It should be a free kick to Campbeltown, is it? Indirect free kick. Just as Matthew Mullen went to head it clear, I think Thomas James swung a boot in his general direction.
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. Right decision.
It's Halliday. Been impressed by both fullbacks today. Like to push on, add to the attack. Here's Matsumoto, lovely touch to take it away from Graham. Now here is Halliday bursting forward from the left flank, pulls it back into the area. Toure, Matsumoto. Bag of tricks, tries to squeeze it past Subasic, and luckily for FC, he was there. Here's Danning. His turn to show some tricky footwork.
Did very well, didn't he?
James caught by Harvey, free kick FC on the halfway line. 26 minutes to play at Deakin Stadium in the nation's capital. NPL elimination final. Canberra FC 0, Campbeltown City from South Australia 1. The winners into the semi-finals where Heidelberg United's already there. They've given it away. FC.
Yeah. That's a weak turnover from Pavlak. That was really disappointing because they'd worked their way out of a defensive position really well.
Ball swung into the area, but it's taken a deflection and it's fallen nicely for Thurtell. Now he sent Costanzo away. A little bit of room for the fullback. And that passes to Mensah. Danning is there with Halliday, who's defended him pretty well.
Both players done very well. They've been a joy to watch, the pair of them. But I must admit, I'm impressed with Matsumoto. I think he's done extremely well.
Throw in, which Costanzo finds Subasic. Can he deliver this into the penalty area? Throw in again. Steve, how did Canberra FC find their way back into this one?
It's a good question. I think they need Thomas James more involved in the game, and they need to get him into positions higher up the park and find his feet and let him get running at people. Certainly they've got to keep the back door shut. They've looked vulnerable on the counter-attack against a very, very quick and competent Campbeltown City team. But I think perhaps a change in midfield where they can get some fresh legs on might help.
Matsumoto into the penalty area, and he's given that one away. It wasn't his best cross. And again, Costanzo has a heap of space in which to run, opening up a little bit for Canberra FC as they search for this equaliser. Danning twisting away from Halliday, who got just enough on it to find Matsumoto. Mayo's ball. And he's held Torre a bit short, and Matt Waters has done the covering.
Game's really starting to open up now, and I think that might suit Campbeltown a little bit because of their ability to counter. So FC just want to be on their toes, but I think they just need a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more run out of midfield, and there might be a chance to get something back out of it. They're not creating enough at the moment.
Subasic finds Danning running the channel.
And I think Danning and James are the answer to that particular problem.
Danning's coming more and more into it, isn't he? Here's Mensah looking to challenge Halliday and trying to force an opening.
And of course there's always the opportunities from set pieces. So
here's Waters on that left foot. Pavlak stabs it in towards Mensah, and it's just going to drift through to Harpers. He's not had an awful lot to do, the Campbeltown goalkeeper.
No, certainly FC haven't created a lot of chances, or haven't posed a major threat inside the final third. And I think that's as a result of the midfield sort of being outplayed a little by Campbeltown. So if they can get a foothold in the middle of the park, start creating things for the likes of James and Mensah and Danning, then that's probably the best avenue back into the game. But hard to see where it might come from, because Campbeltown look very competent defensively and really very, very, very good on the counter-attack.
Unless they have a free kick here. Joe Mullen's team leading, thanks to a goal from Alex Mullen after 6 minutes. Seems a fairly long time ago now that he was left free on the far post to nod past Jordan Thurtell and give the South Australians the advantage. Pavlak swings it in towards Mensah. His touch is picked up by Detroyer. Gerbish had stayed forward and tried to hoik it in the direction over the top to Thomas James. You can see it's the right idea, it just didn't come off for him.
Yeah, it's all a little bit panicked though. I'm not sure that that's the way forward. I mean, I thought Matty Gerbish might have taken a touch there and then tried to find a pass, and it would have been a better option. But certainly if they can get Thomas James into those sorts of areas, they're a chance.
They need to do it sooner rather than later. 21 minutes or so to go. Here's Mullen in midfield. Huge amount of space out wide here for Halliday to run at Costanzo. Here is Halliday onto that left foot. Halliday fires one goalwards, and it was fading away. Luckily, from left to right as Thurtell was diving, and opportunity goes begging for Campbeltown.
Once again, we see FC dragged towards their own left-hand side, and then the ball played wide to the overlapping left full-back of Campbeltown City. Ross Costanzo left one-on-one. He's done quickly, and it's a terrific strike. Just fades wide at that far post, leaving Thurtell grasping at thin air, really.
It's a good hit from Jake Halliday. He's had a
Had a good game.
Good game going forward and defensively as well. He's had his hands full with Kofi Dunning and he's coped with him very well. Campbeltown got some subs warming up, and as do Canberra FC.
Yeah, it looks like it might be Brunskill coming on, and I think that might be the end of the night for Costanza.
Aidan Brunskill, Canberra FC stalwart. He's been around forever and a day. Here's Costanzo. If it is him to go, it's his last involvement, and James is there, and it's a good challenge. Halliday swept up towards Toure, but it's been picked up by Waters. Now Danning. Flat delivery, Matsumoto's back there defending as well as he's attacked. And here's space, perhaps for Mullen to step away. Looking for the run of Detroit in the middle. The ball's just going to bend away, and Thurtell's in trouble here, and he spilt it. And here's Luigi Detroit, and somehow Thurtell has got back and denied him, making up for his own error. It looked all over there.
It looked all over that it was going to be Thurtell's ball when the ball came in, because it wasn't a great ball into the penalty area, but he's completely misread everything about it, left himself underneath the ball, and fortunately for him...
Well, here's Toure, Steve. Sorry to cut you off there. Just for a moment I thought he was going to nick in.
Yeah, but fortunately for Jordan Thurtell, he's got back on his line, and they've wasted a golden opportunity to go 2-0 up.
Detroit perhaps dawdled on it a little bit.
I don't know what he was thinking about. It had to go in the back of the net.
It's going to be Marko Velkic, is it, first to join us?
And it's Ian Graham that's going off, and I think this is a good move because it gets his extra legs on there.
It is Ian Graham and Marko Velkic to join us.
And it wouldn't surprise me at some stage if they don't go to 3 at the back as they did in the grand final last week and just put Subasic into a midfield role as well.
Well, Marko Velkic, as we know, can play further forward if he needs to.
And it looks like they might be
going to do that. 3 at the back, and Daniel Subasic into the further forward role where he's scored 3 goals this season. Pavlak lifts that up towards Mensah. Nice touch, looks for James, and that's an important foot in.
Yeah, crucial
by Matt Mullen.
Crucial interception.
Detroit takes that in beautifully. Tries to get away from Gerbischer, but the Canberra FC defender wins that duel. Perazina's touch. James looks to roll his marker and get away, and he has here. Now Thomas James taking on Fife, who comes in, shows all his experience to win the tackle and deny the English import.
Just a little hesitant once he got in behind, but good signs for FC. Interesting to see how Campbeltown deal with this change in formation.
Ball's going to fall on the edge of the box. Velkic challenges, and Mullen comes away with it. Only gives it to Costanza, though, who we thought may have been the one to go. But yeah. Velkic then lifts it into the area, and Fife gets the call from Harpus. And that's a good distribution from the keeper. The bounce may have done Costanzo here, and Detroit, it just shrugged him away, and Luigi Detroit racing down on goal here. Sliding in, his chance here, and is that a penalty? Was he caught late? Well, there's no appeal from those in white, and that surprises me.
It certainly it looked to be contact after the ball had been played. But
maybe we check the replay and when the ball goes out of play, because there was a real chance here. I'm just checking the replays here, and was he caught late? Well, make your own minds up. Have Canberra FC dodged one? Waters swings that one wide, and Pradazina can't keep there. When the ball was cut back, it seemed to be definitely caught out, didn't he? Here we go again. Watch Detroit. Just pushes away from him, Steve. And
yeah, he's
just keep an eye when he's passed the ball here. Is that a foul?
Certainly, it looks like it might have been. I'm going to give Matty Gerbischer the benefit of the doubt that he was going for the ball. Whether he got a touch on it, I'm not sure.
Here's Waters for FC. James peels away. That's asked a lot of him. And Matsumoto's in there sliding in with Thomas James, and FC get the decision from Katie Patterson. Well, I'm sure there'll be people in South Australia, Campbeltown fans, thinking penalty for that one.
Yeah.
And I've seen them given.
I've certainly seen them given, and it was a desperate lunge from Gerbischer, and as soon as you go to ground and make contact, you give the referee an opportunity to make a decision. The cards have fallen FC's way this time. But it could so easily have been the other way around.
James with the free kick. Bit of push and shove in the penalty area involving Marko Verkic as well.
I think that wind's died down to about 60 knots.
You can see it fluttering that corner flag, and it can't make its mind up which way it's going, I don't think. James looking to swing this in. He might use this wind. If he sent it in now, might end up in Deacon Shops. Flat one to the near post, and it's into the side netting, unfortunately, for those of a Canberra FC persuasion.
A little bit of a waste. A little bit of a waste.
We've got 15 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. And Campbeltown still leads by Mullen's early goal. Just a reminder, Lions FC from Queensland play Edgeworth Eagles from Northern New South Wales tonight at 7:30. And tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Sydney Olympic against Perth Soccer Club as the NPL final series continues at the quarter-final stage.
Are they telecast as well?
All games, I believe, are telecast. Broadcast on the internet, so chance to watch some NPL finals football later as well if you like. Hope you're enjoying this one at the moment. It could go either way. Canberra FC still very much in this one. Here's Danning, stepping away from Mayo and then stepping away from Mullen as well, who's back to have another bite at the forwards and does exceptionally well to win it. Danning perhaps took a little bit too long to make his mind up.
Maybe first signs of fatigue, because he had plenty of opportunity to find a pass there and neglected to move the ball on, puts him under pressure.
Matsumoto running at Pradazina. Bag of tricks, and he goes past him again and wins the free kick. Once more, just got too much in the locker for the young Canberra FC wide player.
Yeah, his second half hasn't been quite as good as his first half, but he hasn't done too badly. And I think the experience of playing against a team like this will stand him in good stead as his career develops.
That wind is really picking up across Deakin Stadium now. It's a quite unpleasant evening.
It's terrible.
At least we're on the second.
The mezzanine.
The mezzanine level of the commentary positions. I feel for the cameramen on the top. They're still with us, I think.
Is he still there?
Both of them are up there. They haven't been blown off just yet, I don't think.
There's one over there with the camera. He's on the other side of the ground.
Bringing you all the action from Deakin Stadium. Free kick here to Campbeltown City. Swung in towards Fife, but it's been won by Gerbischer. Falls for Detroit. His touch to Mullen. Detroit once more clips it in. Good clearance from Gobicha, but it's only found Toure. Cuts into the penalty area and timely interception from Subasic, from Costanzo rather. Concedes the throw. No sign of any movement from Joe Mullen on the Campbeltown bench just yet.
No, I think they're warming up just to stay warm.
Don't blame them.
It is cold.
Of all the games we've done this season, it's probably the coldest I've been, because it's springtime in Canberra. Here's Pictionary. Lifted into the middle, and Mullen comes to Tells there. Mullen won it. Detroit is in there. Detroit, and that's 2-0 to Campbeltown. The Red Devils strike again, and that could be the killer blow for the South Australians with just under 12 minutes to play. They're 2 to the good.
And you can't argue that they've been the better team, but Jordan Thurtell gave us an early warning when he came under the ball previously, and he's made a right pig's ear of that one as well. He's come to challenge and get a punch in, hasn't got it away from his penalty area, and they've been punished from what was rather an innocuous move.
And Luigi Detroit, his 12th goal of the season, and he showed far more composure there. Took it away from Thurtell, and when he needed to finish, he just blasted it into the empty net, and
yeah,
that could be the killer blow, the one that could send Campbeltown into the semi-finals.
Very good finish, but Jordan Thurtell hasn't covered himself with glory there. At a time when FC were just sort of pushing to get themselves back in the game, it's a shame.
Well, they're going to need a monumental turnaround now if they're going to find a way back into this. Here's Pictionary looking for Mullen through the middle. He's got away from Gerbischer. Still going Mullen, and Matt Gerbischer wins the tackle. And Alex Mullen got a good engine on him, hasn't he?
One of the really impressive things, I talked about them being able to play in tight areas, but the work rate, the pressing, has been first class, absolutely first class. When they haven't got the ball, they work very hard to get it back.
FC on the break. And Mensah brings many qualities to the game, but his pace isn't necessarily one of them.
No, he's not known for his mobility. And I think Rakic is coming on for...
Zadie Rakic, and that's Predazino's gone off.
Predazino's gone off, yeah. Just faded out of the game a little bit, Christian Predazino, after a really good first half.
So it's a third change from FC, from Paul Mako. We're going to see a change, I think, from Campbeltown's point of view as well, very shortly. They lead 2-0, goals from Alex Mullen and Luigi Di Troia. First touch for Rakic. It's a good one too, back to Verkic. Fife is in there, and there's Rakic again. And Halliday, nice bit of defending to tidy up. And he'll get the ball back from Harpers. And there's a huge amount of space here for Di Troia. Thurtell's come, Di Troia gets there, and his finish fades away from goal.
He really should have done better then. Thurtell came quickly off his line, but got nowhere near it and was well and truly beaten, and he's just missed the target. But golden opportunity to make it 3.
Huge gap that Luigi Di Troia found himself in. Halliday's pass was excellent, and not the finish that he supplied a couple of moments ago. Fortunately for Canberra FC, they still have an outside chance if they can find a goal from somewhere. James tries to get past, but you wouldn't begrudge Campbeltown the victory. They've done very, very well, and they're going to make a change soon. Here's Rakic. Costanzo swings it in towards the far post. Harpers comes, doesn't get it under pressure from Mensah. Gets it at the second attempt, though, on the ground. The physical presence of Michael Mensah causing problems for Nicholas Harpers, but
dealt with it in the end, though.
He did. And he's delivered a decent ball up towards Matsumoto. Pavlak watched it all the way. Rakic. Nice little ball. And that's sent wide by Subasic to Costanzo. Danning. Rakic. Here's Pavlak. This is better, Subasic. Good foot in, though, from Matt Mullen. Just as the move was beginning to show some signs of progress, and Mullen stopped it in its tracks. Here's Di Troia at the other end. And away come Campbeltown, and Di Troia's on a run in behind again, and Gerbischer needs to deal with it, and he does.
He did very well. Defending. Did very well. I mean, they're going to 3 at the back, so there's going to be little spaces on the in the wider areas, and Matty Gerbischer read the situation very well, got his body in the way, used his body well, and has eventually won himself a free kick.
Fouled by Luigi Di Troia, who scored the second goal. 7 minutes to go. FC looking for a miracle at the moment. We saw one in the NPL Victoria last night, didn't we?
3-1 down, yeah.
3-1 down with 5 minutes of extra time to go, and Avondale came back to win 4-3. Helped by a couple of own goals from Bentley Greens. Here's Halliday bursting forwards. Verkic is in there and needs to win it, and did, but we're going to come back for the free kick.
Yeah, good refereeing, great refereing. Just waiting to see what... Sorry, mate, go on.
I was going to say, my question is, Steve, if that's a late challenge there, and we're watching it on here, we just said the replay was going to come up there. How is that not a penalty earlier on? Same challenge?
Well, if it and like I said at the time, I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he got a touch on the ball. We couldn't tell from here, and you couldn't tell clearly from the replay. But certainly on that situation there, and it's not the first time tonight that a late challenge has gone in.
So Andrew Mayo's coming off. Anthony Piccioneri is going to join Adam Piccioneri on the team. 2 Mullins, 2 Piccioneris. Good game, Andrew Mayer, just in front of that back four, just patrolling that area. Fife finds Harvey. Time ticking away. And Campbeltown, 6 minutes plus stoppage time from a place in the semi-finals of the competition. They have been in the semi-finals of the NPL before, NPL final series back in the initial competition in 2013. They got a bye to the quarterfinals, to the semi-finals. They were beaten 3-1 by South Hobart, who lost the final 2-0 to Sydney United. And Steve Forshaw was coach of the Tuggeranong United team that knocked South Hobart out of the FFA Cup. There you go.
Yes. Does that make us sort of...
Who knows?
Runners-up in the NPL now?
Oh, well, that makes anybody anything, but Campbeltown looking to repeat that feat. This is the first time they would have earned their way there, though, by winning a match. Good deep clearance from Harpers. Here's Rakic, picking up the pieces for FC. Verkic. Rakic, Pavlak. It's all a bit too congested and in the wrong part of the field for the red shirts. Good win by Mullen.
Major difference between the two teams is their ability, or Campbelltown's ability, to play in tight areas.
Yeah, 100%. Fisher Aries ball forward there. They've worked their way out of tight spots, and they've all got very good touches, and they had the better of it from almost a word go, to be fair. That's come off of Harvey.
You know, given the relative difference in quality of the two teams, and I don't mean to be disrespectful for FC, I think they've done really well. But Campbeltown are a better team than FC, so to still be in the game, albeit at 2-0, Canberra FC can be justifiably proud of their effort. For a long time, this game was just 1-0, and they were in the game, well and truly in the game, and it's really only been a slip up at the back that has made it a mountain to climb for them.
Canberra's wait for an NPL finals victory looks like it's going to go on. This would be 0-6 for the nation's capital in NPL finals. Matsumoto looking for Toure. He's conceded the free kick.
And again, Gerbisher defending well.
He's done well, yeah, he's done well all really season, to be fair.
Yeah.
Here's Rakic.
Oh.
He's going to get a free kick. FC looking to get something done, and something done quickly. They need to, if they're to turn this one around. Time running out. 3 minutes plus stoppage time. Here's Verkic. Swings it forward. Mensah. As the wind suddenly stops.
What a shame.
In the final 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. It's back again now. Campbeltown have the free kick. There'll be in no rush to take this. And who can blame them? They'll be staying overnight in Canberra before they fly back tomorrow morning, and I'm sure they'll enjoy their evening. Saturday evening hot spots in town.
Floriade.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sure they'll be enjoying themselves, having a couple of celebratory drinks of some sort. Here's Pictionary.
Well, there's plenty to do in Canberra if they're getting around the right areas. I'm sure the boys will enjoy themselves.
Pictionary finds Detroit. He looks to slide in Halliday, who's got him behind. He's got Mullen square if he picks him out. He comes back instead. It could be 3. It's going to fall for Matsumoto. It's been blocked somehow by the retreating Rakic.
And Thurtell, I think Thurtell's made an excellent save there, and he's redeemed himself from the earlier mistake because he's really pulled one out of the fire.
It was swung across. The first shot was blocked by Rakic, and yeah, it did come from Thurtell. It's a good save from the keeper. Good spot there, Steve. We're going to see Thomas Wirt for the last couple of minutes. Anthony Toure is coming off. He's run himself into the ground.
Had a good game. Very strong.
And Wirt's going to get a couple of minutes of NPL finals football.
You know, they might not be able to go out tonight if they haven't brought any warm clothes with them. Need an overcoat.
Or 2. They've come away from home. Always a difficult thing to do. They've got off a plane, they've come straight to the grounds and got there about an hour and a half before kickoff and have come out running. And they're 2-0 up and looking good unless FC can find something tremendous in the final couple of minutes remaining. Rakic is down in the middle of the park, clutching his head. Yeah, not sure what happened there.
I think he was collected a little bit late. I'm not sure there was anything malicious in it, but he got a bump a bit late.
He's not happy. He's been around for a while, Andy Rakic. Letting, I think it's Matt Mullen, know what he thought of the challenge. Not shy in coming forward, is he, Andy Rakic, normally?
No. To be fair, I mean, he's not played a lot of football this year, but his football, since he's been on, his passing's been very good. But
he's certainly brought something to the game, hasn't he? He's slowed it down and he's kept possession, which is what Canberra have struggled to do for most of the afternoon, and the evening, I should say. We're into the last 15 seconds or so. We're keeping an eye out for the fourth officials board to see how much stoppage time we've got. Couldn't imagine there'd be a huge amount. Was it these days generally 3 minutes, isn't it, Steve? Standard 3 minutes. Harpers has the ball.
Well,
Board goes up, and it is 3 minutes.
We haven't seen the trainers, have we, apart from that
Just
one
then,
incident?
yeah. 3 minutes of time added on. 3 minutes between Campbeltown and their semi-final place. That's a foul from Verkic, and
silly.
Patterson's actually brought it back for the initial foul from Brakic.
Silly.
Fortunately, perhaps for Verkic, because he may have gone in the book for that.
All a bit silly.
Well, Campbeltown may have the last word. This free kick will be taken by Matt Mullen. He's kept Thomas James and co quiet this evening.
I think Danning's done really well with the forward players for FC. I think he's done exceptionally well. He's certainly been the pick of them.
Mullen climbs.
I think...
Mullen again, Steve. A good save from Thurtell.
What a great save.
Diving to his left. They may not have had huge amount of power on their header, but Mullen almost ended the game as he started it.
It had to be saved, didn't it?
It was a good header towards the bottom corner. It was sneaking its way in, and Thurtell makes his third decent save of the half. No rush to take the corner, of course.
No, it's nice that he's been able to redeem himself then, because I do think he was at fault for the second goal, but he's made a couple of good saves since then and re-established the fact of his reputation a little bit.
The Red Devils have the corner. They swing it in towards the far post. Fife is climbing. Gerbish is there to clear. Drops on the edge of the area to pitch in Airy. Here we go on the break for FC, perhaps with Rakic. He's got Danning inside him. Might have to come back to Costanzo. Switches play to James. Matsumoto is with him. James looking for an opening. Good ball in as well, and it's bouncing towards the goal, and nobody in a red shirt could get on the end of it, and Harper's watched it go wide, but for a moment he was worried.
He was indeed. He was scrambling across to his left, and that's the first time James has got the better of his marker, and he's whipped something into a dangerous area. Unfortunately for FC, no reward.
Time ticking away on Canberra FC's NPL finals hopes for this season. They've acquitted themselves well, but they've come up against a well-marshalled and well-solid team from South Australia. Joseph Kogo is coming on for Matsumoto.
My man of the match. I think he's been really good.
Excellent performance. The grand final hero, the guy that scored the goal in the grand final to bring the trophy to Campbeltown for the first time. And he's put in a shift, as they all have this evening. Good win by Subasic. Thumping challenge by Gerbischer, and Thomas Viet wore the full force of that one, didn't he?
He did. It was a very, very hefty challenge, and Viet has only been on the park a matter of moments. We're wishing that he hadn't been brought on.
Nothing untoward in it whatsoever. It was just a really strong challenge from Gerbischer winning the ball, and he's collected Viet on the way through.
Yeah, this doesn't look good at all.
Gerbischer there checking on the health of the youngster. So this 3 minutes is going to be elongated for a little bit. The trainer comes on, and let's hope Thomas Viet's okay.
I hope so. Look, the never good when they stay down so long after a heavy challenge around that head area. So just hope it's something that they can fix up really quickly.
Last time we were at this venue, Steve, 7 days ago or so, it was fireworks and flares as Canberra FC won the NPL Grand Final. But as their home support drifts away today, a little bit disappointed. Not going to have quite the same impact at the end. No fairy tale ending tonight. I mean, there is no doubt that the team from South Australia has come here determined to take home the 3 points, and they deservedly got them. They've scored
goal in each half, so it's an indication that they've dominated the game from woe to go. They've played some lovely, attractive football, certainly on the counter. But there's been some good individual performances, as I was alluding to before, from Canberra FC, with Danning, I think, in the final third or going forward, one of the better players for FC. And certainly Gerbisher in the second half has been outstanding defensively.
They're going to go on to the semi-finals of the NPL final series, where, as I mentioned, they'll join Heidelberg United and then either Lions FC or Edgeworth Eagles and Sydney Olympic or Perth Soccer Club. Semi-finals next week, grand final the week after. Free kick's been awarded here to Campbeltown, and they've got something up their sleeves to crown the evening. Matt Mullins over the ball, as is Piscineri. Well, they got something they've been working on the training ground. Looks like it. It's Piscineri, chips it goalwards, it's dipping, and it's just over the crossbar. Nicely worked.
Yeah, not going to beat the goalkeeper from that distance with that sort of finish, though.
It's a bit loopy.
A bit loopy is a good description.
Thurtell eager to get on with it, but he's going to run out of time very shortly. Chipped up towards Weert, who's thankfully fully recovered. Here they come again with Detroit, who scored the second goal. He tries one from range. It's a good effort, and Thurtell was behind it. Needed to be. Bit of venom in that shot from Luigi Detroit.
Extremely cleanly, unfortunately, straight down the keeper's throat. And Thurtell at the second attempt keeps it away, but it was a good effort. Really good effort. And here they come again.
It's Kogoy, the substitute. Checking a few step-overs in there. Mullen. He's tried an ambitious one and it's swerving. It's hit the crossbar. Here's Detroit to seal it once and for all, and he does. Luigi Detroit scores his second of the match off the end of a shot from Alex Mullen from miles out. There's cannon back off the crossbar. Detroit's touch was excellent and the finish was unerring. It's 3-0.
3-0, probably a little unfair on FC, and particularly when you consider that there's an element of luck in that third one. But, you know, we've just seen in the last few minutes a couple of shots from distance that have had FC struggling. Thurtell saves one, crossbar keeps one out, and then, like all good strikers, following in on the rebound, tucking it away. 3-0 Campbeltown, and deserved winners.
It might well be the last kick of the football in anger. He was alert, he took it down well, and he tucked it away. His second of the game. He threatened to score one earlier, which he probably should have done. He should have had a hat-trick, to be fair.
He might have done, yeah.
But he's looked lively and he's deserved his goals. 3-0 might be a little bit harsh on FC, but you can't deny that Campbeltown look the real deal. Here's Waters. We still play. Harvey's there. And that is the final whistle. It is Campbeltown, the Red Devils, who have the final say, Steve. 3-0, as I said. Probably the deserved result from their point of view. Canberra FC, that last one was a little bit harsh on them, but take nothing away from Campbeltown and what they've showed today. They look like a very good football side, and they have come here and conquered Canberra.
Yeah, and there is no doubt that the best team walks away with the victory tonight. They've played some very nice football. They've worked combinations. They've been good inside areas. On the counter, they've been very quick. Apart from some loose finishing, we might have had a bigger scoreline. Certainly Thurtell made up for a mistake for the second goal and then kept them out. But in the end, Campbeltown City, very, very worthy winners. I think it would be unfair not to mention the fact that for a long period in the game, although it was 1-0, FC sort of worked their way into it and might have got something out of it. But class told in the end, and Campbeltown deservedly go through to the semi-finals.
Thanks very much for your company, Steve. I'll let you go and warm up. Try and thaw out. It is a bit cold, as we mentioned, but it is warm for the Campbeltown City. The Red Devils are on their way to the semi-finals of the NPL Finals Series. They've won this elimination match here in Canberra. Goals from Alex Mullen after 6 minutes and a brace from Luigi Detroit in the second half. The second with 12 minutes to go. The third with almost the last kick of the game, converting the shot there, as we're watching on the replay, from close range after Mullen's shot came back off the bar. It's been a deserved win for the Red Devils. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to the South Australian Football Federation. They're into the last four. It's finished Canberra FC 0, Campbeltown City 3.